Once upon a time, Manchester United was the dominant force in English football. A club where legends were born, trophies were lifted, and Sir Alex Ferguson's chewing gum had its own trophy cabinet. They were a club of champions, a footballing juggernaut that did not just dominate England but conquered Europe. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, they won trebles, doubles and hearts. Opponents feared them, players dreamed of joining them. But that Manchester United is dead. Today, Manchester United are an ongoing experiment in how to waste money, break spirits and turn football into an international comedy show. They have spent over £1.5 billion on players since Ferguson retired. In return, they have 0 Premier League titles, 0 Champions League finals and infinite Mark Goldbridge meltdowns. But how did this happen? How did a club once led by legends turn into a carousel of failure? To answer this, we must go back to when Manchester United were truly feared. To understand how bad things have become, one must first understand how good they once were. The year was 1999. Manchester United were not just winning, they were defining footballing greatness. They had Peter Schmeichel in goal, a man so intimidating he could make strikers miss just by looking at them. They had Roy Keane, the human embodiment of controlled violence, running the midfield. They had David Beckham, a man whose right foot could launch footballs and global brands with equal precision. And up front, they had 4 of the most lethal strikers in footballing history, Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole. A strike partnership so telepathic they could find each other blindfolded. Teddy Sheringham, the ultimate super sub, who scored in the Champions League final just for fun. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a baby-faced assassin who destroyed Bayern Munich's dreams with a single flick of his boot. Manchester United did not buy players for hype. They bought players who delivered. Fast forward to today, and the picture could not be more different. Up front for United now, Rasmus Højlund, a promising young striker who was signed for £72 million but has to survive on 2 chances per game. Joshua Zirkzee, a talented but unproven Dutch forward, still learning how to navigate a Premier League penalty box. Alejandro Garnacho, electric, exciting, but at times playing like a man still waiting for his FIFA rating to go up. Gone are the days when Manchester United had world-class finishers who could win games single-handedly. Today, their attack consists of potential, over-expectation, and a fan base praying that one of them will actually become world-class before 2030. Meanwhile, the rest of football laughs. The 1999 midfield was a work of art. Roy Keane controlled the game like a general at war. Paul Scholes played football as if he had invented passing. Ryan Giggs terrorised defences for decades, while Beckham delivered crosses so perfect that strikers wrote him thank you notes. Now, United's midfield is a disjointed, expensive mess. First, there's Casemiro. He arrived as a 5-time Champions League winner, but now moves like a man carrying a fridge on his back. He still has the mentality of a champion, but the legs of a 36-year-old Sunday League veteran. Their latest attempt at control, Manuel Ugarte, signed for £60 million. A tough, aggressive midfielder with great potential, but already looking at times like he's realising why no one succeeds at United anymore. Then there's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno embodies the paradox of modern Manchester United, a captain who bleeds passion but often drowns in frustration. As a midfielder, he is United's heartbeat and headache all at once. He can deliver a defence-splitting pass with the vision of a chess grandmaster, but also spend half the game waving his arms in theatrical despair when things don't go his way. His stats remain impressive: goals, assists, key passes. He delivers them all, yet his leadership style often feels less like Roy Keane and more like a man arguing with the referee at a 5-a-side tournament. In a functional system, he would be the orchestrator of brilliance, but in this United setup, he frequently looks like a frustrated artist forced to paint with a broken brush. They were once a team of leaders. Now, they are a collection of midfielders trying to remember what playing football at a top level actually feels like. Manchester United once had Peter Schmeichel, a man so dominant that he used to scare defenders into making better decisions. They had Edwin van der Sar, an ice-cold presence who made goalkeeping look effortless. Even David De Gea, for all his flaws, was capable of stopping shots that defied physics. And now they have Andre Onana, a goalkeeper so unpredictable that even he doesn't know what he's going to do next. When United signed Onana, he was supposed to transform their style of play. Instead, he transformed every game into a thriller, filled with mistakes, misplaced passes, and the occasional comedy goal conceded. He has been lobbed from halfway down the M62. He has passed the ball directly to opposition strikers. At times, he looks more like a concerned spectator than a professional goalkeeper. Manchester United once had goalkeepers who won them titles. Now they have a goalkeeper who has made Mark Goldbridge's rants more entertaining than the games themselves. Perhaps the biggest proof of how far Manchester United have fallen is not found in the club's trophy cabinet, but in the view count of Mark Goldbridge's YouTube channel. Once upon a time, Manchester United fans watched their club for the football. Now they watch to see Goldbridge lose his mind live on camera. Every week, millions tune in to see football's greatest performance artist lose faith in humanity. Manchester United were once a club of trophies. Today, their greatest contribution to football is a YouTuber screaming into a webcam. Once upon a time, Marcus Rashford was the beating heart of Manchester United. A local lad who rose through the ranks, a player whose talent was undeniable. But in football, the fall from grace can be brutal. Rashford's decline didn't happen overnight. First came the inconsistency. One season, he was a 30-goal phenomenon. The next, he looked as lost as a Sunday League striker who had just woken up from a night out. Then came the injuries, the tactical changes, the loss of confidence, and finally, the infamous night out. Rashford was pictured partying past 4 a.m. before an important match, a decision that led to his exile from the first team. For months, he became persona non grata at Old Trafford, frozen out as if he had committed the ultimate betrayal. The solution? A loan move to Aston Villa. The roots of Manchester United's failure in the transfer market lie in their complete rejection of logic. While other top clubs operate with precision, utilising data-driven scouting and well-defined strategies, United's approach appears to be a chaotic mix of impulse buying, blind spending and occasional moments of divine intervention. The pattern is painfully predictable. Every summer, United enter the transfer window with urgency. The fans demand a rebuild, the media speculates, a list of promising names emerges, but then their five-step process kicks in. Step 1, ignore all sensible options. Step 2, fixate on a player who is either massively overpriced or completely untested. Step 3, negotiate for 3 months, allowing every other club to complete their business. Step 4, panic buy in August for an absurd fee. Step 5, regret. This cycle has doomed United for over a decade. Consider Jadon Sancho, a £73 million investment in a player who, at Borussia Dortmund, looked like a superstar in the making. Yet, upon arrival at United, he was either misused, benched, or mysteriously exiled like he had committed an unspeakable crime. Or Antony, signed for £85 million from Ajax. A man who spins more than a malfunctioning washing machine, but contributes fewer goals than an overworked right-back. His fate? Loaned to Real Betis, where he now spends his weekends practicing stepovers in Seville. And then there's Mason Mount, a £60 million signing who has spent more time rehabilitating injuries than playing actual football. The numbers are staggering, the outcomes even worse. One of the most shocking discoveries in our investigation is that Manchester United's scouting department may not actually exist. United's scouting process appears to rely heavily on YouTube highlight reels, a player's name recognition, and whether the CEO's nephew has heard of them in Ultimate Team. With Omar Barada now leading the club, there is hope that Manchester United can finally escape the cycle of failure, but history suggests otherwise. The pattern is too strong. The culture of panic buying, of overpaying, of failing to develop talent properly, it's embedded into the DNA of modern Manchester United. For years, United cycled through managers, hoping to find the next Ferguson. Each one arrived with optimism, and each one left with their soul crushed. Now, it's Ruben Amorim's turn. The young Portuguese manager was brought in to fix this mess, to rebuild a broken squad with a new philosophy. But within weeks he realised United's problems run deeper than tactics. The club is structurally flawed, its recruitment is a circus, and its squad is an overpriced puzzle where none of the pieces fit. And so the cycle of pain continues. Will Ruben Amorim finally end Manchester United's addiction to flops? Or will the club sign another £100 million player who turns out to be a professional TikTok dancer? Only time will tell. United fans hope for a new era. But deep down, they know that another £100 million disaster is just around the corner. Because at Manchester United, there is one eternal truth. No matter how much they spend, they will always find a way to make it look like a mistake.